Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for the Q&As, so let's go ahead and get this started. All right, first question. This is from Henrik. Why am I so weak? I don't know, Henrik, because you train like a pussy. Joking aside, I thought I'd give him this little question. Henrik and I are friends. I've been friends with him online for years. I met him at a powerlifting meet in the UK like 2014. Good dude. But, since he's going to ask this silly question, I'm going to give him a hard time, and let's get over to some real questions. All right, next question. Are you going to do Joker sets? Why or why not? Uh, Probably not. All right, my understanding, and again, maybe I'm misinterpreting this in the whole 531 system. Joker sets seem to be where you come in and you realize you were way weaker than you should have been on your top set, and you add significant amounts of weight, like in the range of 5%, maybe up to 10%. All right, that sounds good in theory if you're a novice or intermediate who's bulking, but for me personally, my strength tends to be relatively consistent. All right, my strength is consistent. So when I come in and hit PR, sometimes you get to see me hit big lifts and come in and just do 2.5 pound PRs, right? On some pretty big lifts sometimes, 5 pound PRs, because I know I can get those. When we're talking about something in the range of, let's say you're a 500 pound squatter, and even if 500 pounds is your training max, putting another 5% on that, another 10% on that, are you serious? How far off is your programming and your training max has been? Now I get it if you're running very, very, very conservative, like you're working at 85%. All right, you're working at 85%. But for me, I've been running this system of stuff like the squatting, for example. I'm bringing it up slowly. I don't want to make 25 or 50 pound jumps in my bar weight in a single training cycle. Right? It's not necessary. And again, my strength is not that inconsistent. So when I look at something like that, this is definitely not guys with well advanced numbers who are going to be doing something like that. It's not. And it kind of comes down to that point of, all right, so are you trying to set an all out PR? Well, maybe you should program that ahead of time, meaning that you are looking at your rep work, you come in and you know you've got a big PR on your next single day. Well, go ahead and go for that. But an advanced lifter, it should not be 5 or 10% increase. It shouldn't be that high. In other words, let's say again your best squat, even on a training max, has been 500, and instead of coming in and doing 505, you're like, well, instead of going 505 on this training cycle and going for a 5 pound, I'm going to put another 5% on top of that and go 530. Okay, well, you've been sandbagging pretty hard if you can do that. And even then, I wouldn't recommend you come in and hit the 505 and then go up again. Pick a PR and leave it. I am not a believer in double PRs. And I tell this to a lot of my lifters. Quit taking a second PR. If you got a PR on a lift, quit coming in and attempting another PR. Because I get lifters who do that, and you know what? They fail. Okay, they come in and their best deadlift has been 525, right? They come in and they smash 535. All-time PR, right? I get that all the time. And then they want to put another 20 pounds on it. Well, you just got a 10-pound lifetime PR, right? You got a PR. If you were going to go for the heavier lift, you should have planned that before you got the PR. Don't do double PRs. Save it for next time. I think the Joker sets are fine for intermediates, though. Probably fine. But I don't see that happening for me. Not as a master's lifter with elite numbers on some of my lifts and advanced on others. Right? Probably not a good idea. All right, next question. Let's talk about why natural weightlifters from before the 1950s looked better training full body 3 times a week and were stronger than natural lifters from today who do conjugate. This guy, went into some other detail on this back and forth, and I don't know what he's talking about. All right, look better. Well, that's really a subjective, relative thing. What you mean they were fatter? I don't know. I mean, I agree with that. I don't think the shredded look looks good. I don't think anyone outside of the weird bodybuilding culture thinks shredded looks good. So they were fatter? Yeah, I guess so, but they ate more food then, right? They ate more calories. That's why they looked better. I don't know. But as far as the stronger, they weren't. What are you talking about? You get a handful of guys with some unstandardized show lifts that we can't see what their range of motion looked like or what they did, and some of them hit some pretty good lifts. They hit some pretty good lifts. We don't have real confirmations of their body weight. We don't always know what those lifts look like. Like, well, this guy, he deadlifted 700 pounds. Well, we don't have footage. For all you know, he hitched the holy hell out of it and cheated it up, right? Maybe he got it off the floor good and then hitched or whatever. But then you look at that and go, but there's guys stronger than that today. I mean, don't get me wrong, a 700 deadlift is elite no matter whether you're tested or your weight class, right? But it's certainly not the best. And as far as squatting and benching and stuff goes, and let's come back over to the point, deadlifting is a leverage lift. It really is. Leverages matter a lot on the deadlift, a lot more than the others. Sheer muscle mass matters on the squat and the bench press. They are muscle dominant exercises. Well, a lot of these guys weren't that big. So you start looking, and as far as their ability to chest press or to squat, it wasn't there. They weren't stronger. Right? They weren't stronger. Go back and look at guys from those eras. 500-pound squats were rare. That was not the norm. I have drug-free guys squatting 500 who weigh under 200 pounds on conjugate. I have clients doing that. And they're not even close to being the best. Come over to benching strength. We're at a point now where today a 405 bench isn't even that good. There weren't guys benching and floor pressing 405 back in that era very common. That was extremely rare. In today's world, a 405 bench is not impressive anymore. You kind of see where I'm going with this? They weren't. You've got this weird idea in your head that they were, but they really weren't. You don't have proof for that. You're looking at legendary status in articles instead of actual facts. Most of those guys were strong, but they just weren't that strong. They weren't as strong as guys today with modern training methods, and they weren't as big. Drugs are not. And you're only seeing, again, the top 0.1% even from that era because no one cared about anyone else. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time in part 2.